Welcome back to Critic Cut. I know it's been a minute. Please forgive me. Caught me slow or just cheap, but I recently just saw the Jurassic World Rebirth movie. And I have some thoughts of this movie, but also just this whole franchise in general, the whole Jurassic World franchise, and just what it's become, really. So first off, I love the first Jurassic Park. It's one of the best movies probably ever made. Definitely one of the best spectacle movies. I miss the old Spielberg movies that had such spectacle, like Jaws and Indiana Jones and Jurassic Park. And the first one was just so good and they made a lot of money. So they were like, hey, let's make more of them. And I think they've made like 6 sequels or something like that at this point. And each one is just like not even close to being as good as the original. And it just makes me sad because I think they've just missed what made the original so good. So they try and recycle a lot of the elements from it, but I think what made the first one so good was that the story was about people. And not just people, but people that actually had a good backstory that was relatable, that made us care about the characters. The first one was about the people, and the dinosaurs were just a plot device. Ever since the success of that one, I think the studio executives look at that and go like, what made that movie so great was the dinosaurs. So let's build a plot around the dinosaurs instead of telling a story about people, primarily. Obviously, when you have a plot device like that, you're telling part of that story too. And I mean, like, no one's hating on dinosaurs here. Everybody loves dinosaurs. It's fun. It's spectacle. I love spectacle. I love seeing epic films like that. But when you lose the story, it just doesn't feel the same, you know? Like, you mix the spectacle with a good story. Man, that's cinema right there, you know? You know, Jurassic World, the first Jurassic World, wasn't bad. It was a return to basics, and a lot of it was pretty good. But then that whole mutant dinosaur thing got done to death, as, you know, we see in this one. And my biggest problem is the character development. As far as I can recall, every single one of these Jurassic Park sequels had like some sort of John Hammond character, some kind of greedy person trying to make money off of the dinosaurs. But the thing is every single one of the ones since John Hammond, or even the Dodson, we got Dodson here guy, Dodson, they had better backstories, but not only better backstories, but relatable backstories that made us care about these characters. Every one of the greedy characters since that original one, I feel like is just one-dimensional. All they want is to make profit, and they don't care what evil they do along the way. John Hammond wasn't like that. He wanted to make money, make it into a park, but when you see the relationship he had with his grandchildren, you realize it's not just about the money, it's about an experience that he wants to give people, that he actually in a lot of ways cares about people, that he spared no expense, though he should have spared a little more expense on the fences that should last when the power goes out. But that aside, no plot is perfect. But that aside, like, he had dimensionality. He wasn't just a greedy person that will do whatever it takes to make $1. That he had something that was relatable to him. Even the best villains have a bit of humanity that we can all relate to. So one-dimensional characters. And even the characters that in this movie that they tried to give some sort of a backstory, like, I forget their character names, but when the two of them are talking about how they've lost people in missions and should have taken more time off and stuff like that, it's like, okay, you're creating a backstory, but it's so generic that no one feels that. Like, it's, first off, we've heard that 100 times before. The way they execute just makes them seem like a statistic that's like, oh, I lost someone, and that's the reason why I'm the way I am. And it's like, that's just not how humans operate, for starters, and it's just not relatable. So that's not something that we can just, oh, like, I understand her PTSD from just that little bit there. And it's, to me, it's just lazy filmmaking. It seems like Filmmaking these days, especially studio films, is rife with lazy filmmaking, lazy writing especially. Because if you create characters that we care about, like, you just have to put those characters in a dangerous situation with regular dinosaurs, and we will care about what's happening to them. You don't need to make some big mutant dinosaur that looks like insane and moves very slowly also, by the way. That's just the nature of stories, is if we care about the characters, it doesn't really matter the scale of the danger they're in. We care that they're in danger. But when you just give generic backstories like that, it just makes these characters one-dimensional when the backstory is lame and not relatable. Even the professor character, they were trying to make him like an Alan Grant type of character, but we fill in a lot of the backstory for him from Alan Grant and the masterful job Steven Spielberg did in the first one of building up his backstory. You don't need to add an hour to a movie to tell the backstory properly. You just need to do it right that makes us feel like some kind of relatability to this character and some kind of emotional connection, because that's how stories work. That doesn't engage the audience at all if you're just telling them facts about someone's story. You need to make it relatable. The most relatable character in the whole film was the dad with the stranded teenagers, that he actually learned to accept the boyfriend and who he was. But even that was super shallow and super sidelined in the whole film. You can't build up good character development for that ensemble of cast unless you're doing like a series or like a 6-hour movie. So you got to pick and choose which characters you're going to develop and really have the audience latch onto. So one-dimensional characters is a big peeve with that. And that just feeds into just the story feeling bland and you just don't really seem to care too much about what happens to the characters. And that feeds into the story. That whatever plot you have planned out, it's kind of kneecapped at that point because you don't have characters that we care about what happens to them. That's one big gripe with this film and basically all the sequels. But like, was the movie enjoyable? Yeah, like it was a popcorn flick. It had some great spectacle and there was fun moments, and you know, it was better than a lot of the sequels that have come out from this franchise especially. But was it a good movie? I don't think. I would say like, it's come to a point where when I was watching it with my wife, we were just guessing who was going to die, and like, just not like, oh, I hope he doesn't die. It was just like, I bet they're going to die. I bet they're going to die. Oh, I guess I was wrong. Oh, wow. Like, it takes away from the suspense of what's supposed to be a suspenseful film when you don't really care who's going to die. And you know that a bunch of them aren't going to die, so it's just a guessing game of who it is. It was fun. You know, a popcorn flick, but it just makes me sad that, you know, when you have something like the original Jurassic Park that was such a spectacle film mixed with such a good story, and the main drive was the story about these people, you know, and even a villain like Dennis, the guy who takes the embryos and is trying to sell them, like, you understand, even from the little backstory we know of him, how relatable he is, like the debt he's in and stuff like that. That little argument spat he has with John Hammond, you just infer so much from that that's actually relatable. Like, and to me, just the writing is, in general, in Hollywood has gotten so lazy that we just don't have those films anymore. It's just basically the big studio executives are like that one-dimensional, greedy character from the film, that they just do whatever they got to do to make money, and they don't really care about the art of cinema anymore, and they don't want to tell meaningful stories mixed with that spectacle. I love spectacle. I love the epic films and the epic proportions, but just tell a good story with it. That's the most basic, important part. Anyway, so what do you think about the whole Jurassic Park series and Jurassic World Rebirth? What's the high point of the whole franchise, and what is the lowest point of the whole franchise? See you next time.